Thank you so much. So this is the first time that you've ever been on my show, and I've been wanting to have you on for a really long time. And just give a little introduction to yourself.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's say Precious McKesson. I'm the executive director of the Nebraska Democratic Party. I've been with the party since 2018, starting off as this constituency director and working my way up. I could say I was finance director as well as Black Caucus chair. But yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I love politics. I mean, I've been following politics since the 90s when my first campaign I ever volunteered on was for Brenda Council when she ran for mayor in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was when she almost won, right?
That's when she almost won. She lost by 700 votes. Yeah, still breaks my heart.
You were how old at that time?
I was 18. That was my first election I ever voted in. I was a senior in high school. Yeah. Yeah. I'd always been interested after that because I just wanted to know, always wondered why people in North Omaha didn't vote because everybody went to church. I was like, well, everybody go to church. Why is nobody voting? And so I was always interested in that. And then when I went to Alabama, to Birmingham, I saw there was so many African-American people that were elected to office. And I was like, wait a minute. But then realizing that Birmingham is majority African-American city. Mm-hmm. And so I just always wanted to follow, like, how do people do politics? So then when I came back here, I worked in the nonprofit space for a while, but still was active in the community and different things. And then got tapped for this job when I was working for Senator Wayne in the legislature.
So what interested you in politics? Like, what gravitated you toward? What was the push for you to go and sign up and volunteer for Brenda Council?
Number one, we were voluntold because we were debutantes. And so we had to have some community service. And so there was like, oh, there's this campaign. And I was making calls to people, phone banking. And this is before her campaign office was on Cass Street. So this is before down the street from Peony Park. That's when Peony Park was there. So I remember where her campaign office, it had this it was like a black house. And it had this wraparound porch and this huge tree. And I would never forget this house. And we would go in there and we would campaign and make calls and stuff and just talk to people. But then also my parents, we went to a local church, Church of God, North 24th Street. And so our family was always talking about politics. And my cousin is late Frank Brown on my grandmother's side. And so just hearing about politics and talking about it, we were not a political family. Like I would say my immediate family was not political, but they would always talk about it. And I think one thing that really frustrated me was when my dad worked at Vickers, which was a plant on 72nd and Crown Point that's no longer there. It's now Target. And so he worked there for like many years since the early 80s. And my stepdad decided to build my mom a house in Northwest Omaha, which people thought we were rich because we now were coming west of 72nd. And the crazy thing is that I never understood why only the sheriff would come to our house. And then I realized because we weren't annexed into the city. So we couldn't vote for mayor. We couldn't do any of the city elections. And we had to pay for our garbage to get picked up. And I always asked these questions because we lived in North Omaha. And I was like, oh, this is what we do. And then all of a sudden we move out here. And here I am, the 7th, 8th grade, realizing that we pay for our garbage. Only the sheriff comes to our house, not the police department. And my parents can't vote for the mayor or for city council. What kind of crap is that? We're like, we can't vote for nobody? And so then my parents were starting to tell, that's when I started to learn about what annexation was and these sanitary improvement districts and stuff. And again, I'm only in high school learning these things. And so when I end up like years later as an adult, I went to work for the clerk of district court. And so I used to file the SIDs, the sanitary improvement district paperwork when they were building new developments. And then people would laugh because they were like, how do you know what that is? And I said, oh, because I lived in one. our neighborhood was annexed and I had to learn what a SID was. And that's when you're trying to basically put the different things in the new neighborhoods that you're developing. So, yeah.